Clear prop.
In this video I'm going to show some of the checks I do getting the gyro ready for flight, and then demonstrate slow flight, which is similar to a hover. Here I'm ready to taxi, waiting for oncoming traffic. The oil temperature is still cold. The water temperature is registering on the meter. The oil pressure is about at the top of the green, and the altimeter, airspeed, rotor RPM and vertical speed indicator all read 0. Engine RPM is a fast idle. I start the taxi. And with my left hand I check that the brakes are working and can bring the gyro to a stop. I continue taxi and checking the steering left and right. The windsock shows the wind is down the runway at 5 knots or less. In the run-up area, the oil temperature is in the yellow arc. I run the engine up to 4000 RPM and check the magnetos. Both magnetos are working and both switches are working. I turn to the second page of the checklist for the pre-runway checks. I am lined up on the runway, performing the takeoff checklist. With my right thumb I engage the pre-rotator. The rotor RPM rises. I'm rolling in the power until the rotors are at 220 RPM. With my right thumb I disconnect the pre-rotator, I bring the stick fully back, take the brakes off and add power. As the nose comes up I bring the stick forward. When the main wheels come up I put the stick forward again, accelerate to 65 miles per hour and then bring the stick back to climb. We achieve a climb rate of 1000 feet per minute. Here's an example of a slow flight exercise. I check the engine temperatures and pressures. I have checked for any traffic. I bring the stick back to reduce the speed. And I increase power to maintain the altitude. And I observe a point on the ground. We are not moving relative to that point. I extend the slow flight to make sure we are stable. The airspeed is approximately 35 miles per hour. We are facing into wind, so the wind is blowing us backwards as fast as we're moving forwards. The gyro swings a bit from side to side in the wind. To recover to normal flight, the stick goes forward to lower the nose, the gyro starts descending, and then as the airspeed recovers, I roll in some power to slow the descent, and then fly away looking for traffic. Here's an example of a glide approach and landing. I'm simulating power failure in the downwind leg of the circuit. I close the throttle when I'm abeam the downwind end of the runway. I start a turn towards the runway and adjust the speed to the approach speed of 65 miles per hour. The descent is at 1,000 feet per minute from 1,000 feet, so I will land within the next 60 seconds. I turn onto final at 500 feet and I am aiming for the top of the runway slope. I'm keeping the speed constant at 65 miles per hour. At 250 feet I am over the runway. I round out to meet the top of the slope and then land and bring the stick back to stop the gyro. Once I'm landed and stopped, the stick goes forward and I switch from flight to brake mode and then taxi back to the hangar.